It's a growing trend, from barbershops to Botox and body sculpting to surgery. But are some men taking the pressure to look perfect too far? Multi-Grammy Award-winning artist Pharrell Williams says he keeps his youthful looks by exfoliating like a madman. That's a facial treatment that requires more than the hot towel you get at the local barbershop. For a growing number of stars and regular guys of diverse ethnic, racial, and generational groups, spa visits are key, like at the luxurious Living Fresh men's spa.
We do massage, manicure, pedicure, facials, hair removal, even like laser stuff too.
Some stars like Ryan Seacrest are capitalizing on the trend. He has his own men's skincare line called Polish. Cosmetic procedures and plastic surgery are on the rise for men too, up 80% over the last 10 years, says top plastic surgeon Dr. David Schaefer.
And some men might come in because they want liposuction, for their belly. They might want liposuction for their chest, or a little liposuction under their chin, and then while they're here they say, "Oh, do you do that Botox?"
In October, the FDA approved the use of Botox for forehead lines. That opened the door for a celebrity pitch to a new group of potential users.
I mean, do I really look this tired? At least Dion looks good.
Right. Relax, man. I get it. I had the same concerns. But men out there should know that they're not alone. I decided that I'm going to do something about my noticeable frown lines and my crow's feet. So I talked to my doctor, and he recommended Botox Cosmetic.
Botox Cosmetic?
Uh-huh.
We took our camera into men's night at Dr. Schaefer's office. MJ, a business executive, allowed us to show you his treatment of a filler called velour and Botox.
You do the treatments about every 4 months. And now what I want you to do is raise your eyebrows. Good. And then relax. And then again, just based on the wrinkle pattern that he has. So one there. One there, and you'll notice you get a little bit of redness just from the actual injection, and that goes away in about 20 minutes.
Some men do take body makeovers to the extreme, like the man known as the Human Ken doll. But in hip-hop, super buff superstars like 50 Cent and LL Cool J do it the old-fashioned way, by working out. If you do choose treatments or surgery, Dr. Schaefer says safety should be a priority.
Do your research. You want to make sure that you're going to a board-certified plastic surgeon, and it want to be from the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. You don't want to have somebody who's calling themselves a cosmetic specialist.
More men are paying closer attention to how they look. But is that a good thing? Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining us is Rolling Stone P. He's a hip-hop artist. His new EP is No Rules, and he's currently on tour with Cool Weirdos. Great to have you with us, P.
Thank you for having me.
Also with us is Hot 97's own on-air personality, Jen from Brooklyn Lee. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
She's also a digital media expert and CEO of Next Generation. That's Generation with a J.
That's right.
Great to have you with us.
It's an honor to be here, Lisa.
Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Also with us is Plem Lawson. He's a fitness coach. He's an entrepreneur and consultant, and also an adjunct professor in culinary education. Plem, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Also with us is Greg Davis Jr., better known on Instagram and social media as Clarity. He's an actor, comedian, and social media influencer. Jen, let me start with you ladies first on this. What do you think about what guys are doing?
I think it's too extreme. Like, I could only speak for myself, right? I like a guy that's rough around the edges. I mean, it's understandable if you want to get your nails done, but when you start putting the clear polish on, when you're starting to wax your eyebrows, when you're starting to...
Every guy's looking at his nails right now.
I apologize. I mean, I'm sorry. And like the full body wax.
Our panel's good, okay? With
you guys
that
are
one,
set?
okay?
How about full body waxes and everything? I mean, no.
Like the mankini waxing's a little too much for you. That's gone a little bit too far.
It's just not attractive. You know what I think it is, Lisa? I think men are feeling what women have felt for so many years, right? The insecurity of having to look good. And with social media now, it's constantly in your face. So I feel like they have to live up to this, to this life and to this, I guess, persona that a lot of people have out there.
And kind of like the image, and also what our idea of is like what a man should look like.
Exactly.
Basically is changing. Rolling Stone P, you have your own look.
Yeah.
You have your own unique style. And it's kind of unique in the whole music industry, especially in the hip-hop realm.
Yeah.
What have you been hearing from your fans and also from some of your critics about your appearance?
Well, I think that we make sure, being a cool weirdo, that we just represent freedom and being yourself. The grooming aspect, I think it's different. It has to do with the individual. Me, I was raised a little more old-fashioned, even though my pops looks at me and my hair and goes, okay, what are you doing? But I like having fun with my looks. Now, with the grooming aspect, like I said, I don't take it too far. I do get the shape-ups. I do get, you know, the hot face treatment from time to time, but I don't really go any further than that.
You don't, and you think that, and do you feel pressure though? Because a lot of the artists now too, especially in hip hop, it's like you can't just be like a good rapper who's kind of like big and what now might be considered out of shape. You gotta, you know, a lot of the guys have to be totally muscular or lean. What do you think about that?
Well, I think people are attracted to confidence. I think they're attracted to what a person gives off rather than just how more so they look. You know, I think if a person even doesn't look the part, if his confidence is standing there, he could be in a Speedo, he could still feel like a hero.
I don't know about a Speedo, but
I'm just saying.
That's just me though.
Yeah, if he's confident enough, he can wear whatever he wants, I think. And
Greg, what about you? In terms in your field as an actor, as a comedian, you being out there, you're doing all these skits, these amazingly funny things too on Instagram and all your videos. What do you see happening? Do people say something to you like, yo, you need this or you don't need that? I mean, you look perfect, but do they say things like that?
Do that I look perfect? No, I wish. No one ever says that to me. Yeah. I mean, in my field it's different. I mean, being an actor, they say your face is your tool. So I mean, yeah, like I believe in taking care of myself. There is a limit to that, but I was brought up old-fashioned as well. My father, you know, he always taught me. He was like, you know, he was very country. He was like, son, always take care of yourself, nah. You know, make sure you bathe and you smell good. The ladies likes that. The ladies likes that. So that, I mean, it was simple, but it stuck with me. And I mean, it was simple things. He always taught me, yo, take a shower. I know that seems sort of trivial, so sort of, you know, kind of minuscule, but that
it's a big thing when they don't.
Yeah.
When men don't, it's a big thing.
Yeah, I don't know how they can go days without showering. Some men,
like,
I don't get it.
You know, it's like deodorant, cologne, all that kind of stuff. Make sure your nails are always clipped. No dirt under the nails. Girls don't like that. So it's like little stuff. And you know, I've gotten facials. I get facials. I don't really care. I mean, like I said, my face is in front of the camera, so I have to take care of it. I don't think there's anything wrong with making sure your skin's on point. I had really bad skin and bad acne, you know what I'm saying, growing up about 10 years ago. So like, I'm an advocate for that. Like, because that reflects the confidence, all about how you feel as well. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, I'm not gonna like, you know what I mean, put clear polish on my nails. If you do, you do. I don't really care, but I'm not gonna get a full body wax. I'll get like a half body wax.
Which half?
Yeah, which half?
Which half? Come on now, the better half. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Whatever
Will that be a video coming up on your Clarity Instagram account?
It might. I might do something like that. But I mean, whatever makes you feel good about you, whatever.
Is what it is. Plum, what do you see happening? Because guys come to you in all sorts of conditions. You train men and women, but we're focusing on the guys here. What do you see happening, and what are guys saying to you when they come to you?
Well, you know, I do agree with you that it is a growing trend, but I also think that some elements of it are really like timeless. Because for a lot of men, they do associate masculinity with muscularity. You're brought up that way from childhood all the way up. Irrespective of whether or not you want to attract the opposite sex, you still want to be confident about yourself. So a lot of men do come to me and they say, you know what, on this quest for self-awareness, on this quest for identity, I want to make sure that my self-image reflects what I want it to look like. And maybe my chest is not the way I want to. Or maybe for some guys, they do a lot of upper body and they do no legs.
Oh God, I hate that.
Yeah.
See, they have chicken legs, but they're all like muscular.
So for a lot of guys, some guys come to me and say, hey, listen, you know, I really want to get into more full body stuff.
Right.
And that's what I really try to pay attention to, more holistic workouts. So for a lot of guys, it's about overall self-image, and that helps them with the confidence that they have about themselves.
And do you see more coming in, like guys that are maybe not necessarily overweight, but that they want to have a certain shape?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's even, you know, your thinner guys as well, because they don't want to be left out. You know, there are a lot of men that do suffer from, you know, self-esteem issues due to being overweight, but it's conversely on the opposite side. You know, there are a lot of guys that are underweight and they say, hey, listen, you know, I just want to get my weight up a little bit more, you know, can you help me? So I think it's on both ends.
We're going to continue this conversation. This is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We're talking about the male grooming explosion. We'll be right back.
I guess that's my thing, Lisa. I think the men now are feeling, like I said, what women are going through. Now they're starting to feel what women deal with every day.
Now, one of the reasons we wanted to do this show, one of the figures in our society who exemplifies kind of the ultra male, alpha male, sports star, NFL Hall of Famer, Deion Sanders, is now the new spokesperson for Botox. So we looked into this. We found out that there has been an 80% rise in men getting procedures, not just facials, that's like maintenance. We're talking about Botox, fillers, different kinds of lifts, different liposuction things.
Oh my gosh.
These kind of things. I haven't heard of them going down to the DR for any discount rates on things, but they're getting
Oh my gosh.
but they're getting these things done. So, Jen, what do you think about that?
I'm a little uncomfortable. It's kind of like things that women would do that now men are doing, and to be honest, knowing that if my significant other would potentially want to go have a Botox session with me, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, men should just age gracefully the way they should. Like you said, it's one thing to do facials, it's one thing to get your nails done, but when you start injecting foreign things into your body.
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah, please. Everybody jump in. Please jump in, guys.
No, I want to say, I don't feel there should be rules behind it, though. I think if a person wants to do it and it makes them happy, why not?
Okay. Well, I mean, I do believe to each his own. That's a bit much for me if I'm going to go about doing all of that. And I also believe in the adage that black don't crack. So because of that adage, oftentimes, you know, especially with my father in particular, very handsome man. And he's aged gracefully, even at the age of 65. So I believe that if you have it genetically, then you don't have to go about doing it artificially.
Thank you.
Greg, what about that? Because in the entertainment business, it's always been like women can't have any wrinkles or anything like that, but guys could have kind of like that rugged look and kind of like a few lines to show like they've been through a few wars and a few, or at least a couple gang fights or something.
But nice character.
It's attractive, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
As an act, again, from my perspective, I mean, like for me as an actor, like your face, it does add character. The older you get, especially as a male, even as a woman, whatever, right? But as a male, speaking from a male's perspective, like I like the wrinkles and the scars on my face. I like whatever because it does tell a story. And if your face is perfect all the time, like if you make an expression, like how can you know if I'm angry or sad or happy or mad? Like there's no nothing to differentiate.
Subtitles.
You're gonna be stuck.
Right. Yeah. And
I am angry.
Right. And also too, like, listen, again, self-happiness, all of that. But I do think there's a line because, at what point are you happy or content with yourself where you are? I think there's a line of vanity that's sometimes perpetually crossed when you start doing all that stuff. And it's not. I'm not.
Vanity. That's a great point.
I'm no one to judge, but I'm not. I feel like that goes along with holding on to an idea of I want to look a certain way to please society.
Right.
What about that?
Well, I think imperfections is what makes us beautiful in itself.
Exactly.
Like,
absolutely.
Even hearing
Perfectly
the panel, the ladies in the panel saying they like scars and stuff like that makes me want to show mine a little more.
Yeah, let's see.
I got to.
I think so because it looks like you I think it looks like you lit. You've lived.
Absolutely.
Right, you've been through something. You're representing your true self, and all that will be masked with all these procedures like Botox. That's I guess that's my thing, Lisa. I think the men now are feeling, like I said, what women are going through. Now they're starting to feel what women deal with every day.
You guys have all heard of the term metrosexuals, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is the guys that, but this was before, they would borrow their girlfriends or their wives' lotions and stuff like that, and then they kind of started to get their own products, and now there's a whole obviously product lines for men. Now what has replaced that is something called the spornosexual, which is a combination of sports, the athletic body, porno, the male body, like imperfect, like super hyper type of shape.
Wait,
and
you watch porno?
No, I'm
Oh gosh, this is uncomfortable.
No, I don't. This is just the term. This term was coined by GQ magazine in 2014. I got it.
I'm still trying.
For clarity's sake.
Porno.
This is a legitimate. This is a legit. Nice try. You're really good. Okay, you're on my hot list right now. Okay. I'm gonna think of some good question like that for you. But it's a term that GQ coined actually back in 2014, and I don't think it caught on the way metrosexuals did. But they're like the next phase of it. People like a David Beckham, like a Brad Pitt in Fight Club, like some of these athletes that we see that are super buff, like an Odell Beckham. You know, they're out there doing sports and having these incredible bodies and incredibly stylized kinds of looks, and that's supposedly the trend that men are going for. Clarity, no, you don't buy that?
Like some foolishness to me. I mean, what's the difference? All athletes, isn't that kind of like, doesn't that go hand in hand? All athletes have good bodies, no? I don't.
No.
No?
Really? Okay. It depends on the sport. It depends on the sport. Plum, what about that?
There are countless athletes out there. I'm not, without saying names, that are definitely out of shape.
Just say the name. Just say the name. Just say the name.
Yeah,
you gotta say the name.
But how is that possible? Because you have to have good conditioning, right?
But you see some of these football players that are really big.
But they're still
very agile and still have the skills, right?
No, these dudes,
You know what?
But it's the narcissistic aspect of it. I think that's what it is. And I think for women, Jen, it's like, you're like, do you want your guy more worried about what he's doing in his career and his life and the community and all these things, or do you want him always constantly like, you know,
checking to make sure his hair's right, his skin okay, but like outfit's good? It's kind of like you gotta have a balance between the two if you're a guy, to be honest. Especially in the sports world, like that should be the least of what you're concerned about.
Yeah, but a lot of the athletes today, because it is such a visible thing now. It's not like back in the day where you only saw them on TV when they played the game. Now with social media, they're everywhere.
It boils down to social media. I'm telling you,
it keeps coming back to social media, right?
Taking pride in fashion now. Like you see a lot, because now they film them getting out the car, walking through the tunnel.
But you're adding more.
No, you're absolutely right. You're right. And even flying, like getting on the plane to go to
it wasn't their fault, and now it's become a lot of my friends.
Hold on,
I was saying, but you're adding more value to your worth as well. If you look in the part, and people naturally want to go towards the winners. If you look like a winner in the aspect of your confidence and you're in your best shape, most people strive for that. When we go and look at a magazine, we're not going to the section that says, okay, this is the okay section. We're going to the section that's the fly,
the superstar, the flyest, the newest. That's an excellent point.
Yeah. Well, if I can get back to the athlete for a minute, as far as the fashion and the dress, you got to remember where that kind of rooted, because even in the NBA and NFL, prior to the games, especially I remember vividly, like Allen Iverson, you know, I'm kind of dating myself a little bit, but when he used to come, I mean, he fashioned coming in Timbs and jeans and wearing, you know, do-rags, and then David Stern said, no, wait a minute,
the dress code
must be dressed.
They have to have
So now that you have to come out dressed, they said, okay, well, we're already multimillionaires, so you know we can get fly. So I think now you're seeing that, and it's more prevalent through social media.
But Jen, as a putting on your digital expert hat, but is this about the fact that now anybody that gets any kind of fame, they want to be thought of not just as a personality or a star, but a brand?
Without a doubt.
Like you have to be a brand.
Without a doubt. I bet you all of these athletes that actually dress up and they get out the car and they walk down the arena or whatever, the next thing they're going to do is go to their phones, post it straight to Instagram, and wait and see who's commenting and who's liking. If they'll be reposted, if they'll be on the best dress list. Like, that's just what it is now. And it's sad that we're relying on an internet platform to dictate our lives. Like, you got to live beyond that.
Greg, what do you think about that? Because you use social media really in a very creative way. But I'm sure you've seen, as your numbers have gone up, as your followers have gone up, have people started treating you differently? Different offers being thrown your way?
Yeah, I mean, the more all that increases, the brands, the level of quality of brands have increased for me. The visibility has increased. The opportunities, exposure. So naturally, I mean, I'm naturally into fashion, all that stuff anyway, so whether I'm on camera or not, I just like to feel good. My dad used to always tell me, and Deion Sanders is actually funny enough, he's like, you look good, you feel good, you feel good, you play good.
That's right.
And if you know what I mean? So it's like one of those things in sports I took to real life. It's like, it's all about how I feel. The reason I got in shape and the way I work out now, I found out, which is shocking to me, is it was less about how I look, you know what I mean, but it's like how it makes me feel as well, and that reflects the confidence, and that's what it's more about.
I want to thank all of our guests for being with us. Rolling Stone P, Jen from Brooklyn, Plem Lawson, and Greg Davis Jr., a.k.a. Clarity. You guys, thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. And let's push for peace.